It is Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and you are logged in to Community Conversations here on your favorite, your number one Afrobeat music and talk radio station, Love Bay Radio. We are coming to you live. If you're listening to us online through the radio, you may also be watching us live. If you did not know that it's possible, well, it is. You could be watching us on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, because we live stream video. I am your happy and humble host, Nadia Headley, and I have the pleasure of introducing you to my family today. But before I bring their glowing and glorious faces out, we got some stuff to talk about because it is Black Love Month. All right. We are talking about Black family love all month long in February. Why? Because in North American countries, we celebrate Black History Month in February. Lots of contention about it being the shortest month of the year, but hey, we celebrate Black History Month in February, and everyone knows that Valentine's is in February. And in Canada, in Ontario specifically, I think it's federal. I think it's all of Canada. We have something called Family Day, which is the Monday after Valentine's. So that's tomorrow, the 17th of February is how it falls this year. And so we celebrate, time with our family and time to be grateful for our family members. And so we have brought it all together in Black Family Love for you. And we've been talking to different families who are working on projects together, who are supporting one another, who are delivering amazing value to the world. And this week, you get to see my family. So let's see how that goes. I want to take a moment to just wish everyone a happy love month. Valentine's was on Friday. And that means a lot of things for a lot of people. If you were celebrating Singles Awareness Day, I hope you had a great time. If you had a friend's Valentine's, I hope you had a great time. If this was a harder Valentine's for you because of love lost one way or another, I hope that you find peace and healing. But here, this is what we spend this time doing together, bringing ourselves so that we can have the tough conversations here that matter to us in the community. So as we talk about Black family love, and we mentioned last time, there's so many crazy things happening in the world right now that we could focus on, but we're choosing not to. We are going to talk about what Black love looks like throughout the diaspora. We are talking about what that connection can look like going back through the generations and reconnecting us. We talked about South-South cooperation throughout December. We talked about literacy and what literacy looks like in the Black family. And so now we are talking about Black family love and what reconnection looks like, what reconnection can feel like, and in the specific context of reconnecting with the continent. Now, I have not had the pleasure of returning to the continent, but many people have. And many of you know that we celebrated the decade of the African diaspora, and we would have had a call back to the continent. And so I want to talk a little bit about that. I found a really interesting article that we're gonna share with you. We'll post the link for you. But right now, let's go into what's going on, because it's time for us to figure out what's going on in our community here on Love Bay Radio. So I am sharing here my screen with you so that you can see this article, and we're dropping the link for you as well, because this was actually really interesting. It's more than one take, and I think that's what I like about the article. It's written with a bit of fairness. So it's looking at the return home. Last week we talked about starting a business in Africa. This week we're talking about this idea of the return home. And so João Diamante talks about his experience coming from Rio, Brazil, and going over to Benin, which I mean, uh, for people who don't know, Benin as a tribe is split across multiple current African countries. So take a look at that. And if you are from a Benin tribe in whichever of those countries, please drop me a link below and let me know which one you're from and where you find yourself now in the world. And so he talks about this return. He talks about, wanting to get to touch and feel the reality of life in a country that he thinks he could possibly be from. The article discusses ancestry versus DNA, which is a very interesting debate to get into. DNA analysis coming from the medical field and ancestry conversation coming from anthropology. And then also understanding how DNA is broken down. So it talks about how, when it says 20% from, West Africa, it doesn't mean that 20% of your blood is from West Africa. It means that you have a 20% likelihood of having representation in your ancestry from West Africa. And then it talks about, being able to actually trace your ancestry to the tribe. And as far as I'm aware, there's only one DNA registry that is actually doing that. He talked about visiting the door of no return, which for those of us who are over, who are not on the continent, not from the continent, for those of us who have come through the trauma of the transatlantic slave trade, the idea of the door of no return kind of hits a bit hard, right? Because now we have technology that will allow us to physically go back, but it's this idea of not being able to actually trace back, to not be able to return to a specific place and have a specific sense of connection. So he talks about visiting there as well. The article goes into the 2019 year of the return, and countries like Ghana, for example, led in this urge for people in the African diaspora to return, specifically to Ghana. And 200 African Americans were granted citizenship. Visa requirements were removed from various Caribbean countries, such as Maine, Barbados. And Barbados also started to engage with Ghana in conversations around a direct flight. What's going on with that? I would like to know, because I'd love to be able to just hop from here across the Atlantic and, show up in what could be my home away from home. I don't know. And so it's a really interesting tale throughout his experience. Now, João Diamante is a world-renowned chef based in Rio. And so he is there exploring the food and the natural flavors that exist, and how culture has infused itself in delectable dishes that I unfortunately can't try by just watching his documentary. But if you get a chance, check it out. The link is posted for you again if you are following us on YouTube. So please let us know if you have looked through the article and if you found it at all interesting. And so, as we look through Black family love throughout the month of February, it's really becoming this opportunity for reflection, this opportunity for us to stop, pause, and think about what it truly means to be African, as we are spread all across the world, and what it means for us to engage with persons from other backgrounds. And throughout March, when we get into Her Story Month or History Month, we'll be engaging with other people, other women from other backgrounds who will be able to share perspective on what womanhood looks like when you are displaced, disconnected, or directly connected to what you refer to as home. So thank you so very much for checking out what's going on. As always, you're encouraged to read the article. Tell me what you think. Drop your opinion below. And anything you hear me say in the show, let me know. Nadia, I agree with this. Nadia, I think that's absolute nonsense. And tell me what you actually think. We want to hear from you because it's not just about the talk, it's about having the conversation and the dialogue back and forth. And if you want to actually participate in the show when you watch us live on YouTube and you make a comment or you ask a question, we're actually going to be able to pop that up on the screen. And so you'll be able to see yourself and see your question. And then, I'll respond to you. But be nice, because we family and we having grown folk conversations so we can behave like grown folk. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce you to my family one at a time, because I don't know if you guys know, you probably don't, but there's also a tiny person in the family. There's a baby in the family. And so while we are on family leave, and parental leave, we are, taking turns with the wee one. And so they're going to come up one at a time while they take turns with the little one, while they support me to do this, to have this amazing conversation with you. But here in the Headley home, it's always brimming with ideas, overflowing with collaborative support. Derek, my husband, leads a YouTube channel that focuses on the untold stories of hidden but talented individuals. Most notably, his Behind the Scenes brand brings people in the horse racing industry, in case you never really thought about it, to the forefront to highlight their skills and talents. And my daughter, Jazz, has her own jewelry design and apparel business, utilizing her love for drawing, fashion, math, and business to produce unique designs that adults and kids alike absolutely love. I homeschool Jazz, and I also lead my consulting firm, which focuses on supporting social enterprise, and I volunteer with many nonprofit organizations. As a family, we have seen it all, but we've always been able to continue to support one another and build up our family unit, build our businesses, build our nonprofit organizations together. I'm inviting you to meet my family, my kidpreneur, Jazz. She's going to come on with me now. She's the creative director of Genesis of Jazz. And later on, you'll meet Derek Headley, my husband, the mastermind behind D-Man for Truth. Can't wait to tell you more about that. And let's join in our little chat here, a little conversation as we talk about, how we got here and how we've overcome different hardships and different challenges together. What's up, Jazz?
I'm amazing right now. I'm a bit nervous, as usual when people, go on stage or do a live like this, but I'm feeling it.
You're feeling it? Yeah. Don't be too nervous. It's just me. I don't always bite, right?
Sure.
Not always. So, and remember to speak up loudly so
Yes.
everyone can hear you, okay? When did you first decide that you wanted to be an entrepreneur?
Okay. When a small little 3-year-old child, I was just, hanging with my mother. She was doing this weird thing with her fingers, but it looked cool. She was using a tool, and it was a plier, and she was putting beads on I don't know what to call it, a stick, and she was making something, and it looked pretty cool. So I just wanted to join in. Then when we started doing it more often, hanging out and just doing it whenever we want to, I was just like, I want to do this for a living forever, my entire life. My life decisions were made at the age of 3.
Do you remember what you asked me?
No, I was 3.
So she asked me if she could sell her jewelry at the park. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
The vision in my mind for that was we would put a table, like those plastic tables that you take the legs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was all planned out in my head. We would get a really long charging cord for lights and stuff, and our phone to take videos. and plug it into some random outlet that we could find. I would have cardboard boxes set up to make it look pretty, make it look appealing, and you would want to go there. But and chairs to sit down, and a little walk path toward.
Yeah, a whole plan. Yes, yeah. Big ideas at 3-4 years old. So I mean, well, what do you want to do now as a career, and what are you doing to prepare for that?
I love, when I say love, I mean love. I love rocks. But, like, why? They're rocks. You find them on the floor. Well, sometimes if you crack open one, you could find a whole bunch of gems inside or more rock. So, it depends. It's like a win or a win-lose. There's always a win. Because you get something, at least.
More rock or gems. That's true.
Yeah, extremely. So, what is it called? Geometry, geology, geography. I like those 3 G's. Oh my god. But for real, geography is extremely confusing because a few days ago, my mother, she was going on this whole rant with her aunt about what countries were on the equator. What was it? Ecuador,
and I can't remember Venezuela. All of them, so I'm not about to. Venezuela's not one. I'm not about to embarrass myself on live radio. But yes, I got 4. But there was contention around exactly how many, given that the equator is actually an invisible imaginary line. But yes.
Yeah. So when she was talking about all of that, my dad, he was on Google Maps. So, me and him, we weren't really, that smart, like this gal over here.
So what are you doing to prepare for what you now see as a possible career in geology?
Okay. Personally, I do not like going and touching stuff like, cleaning a toilet. But for geology, I would definitely grab a hammer and just, do anything to, break something. And I don't have to charge anybody or get charged or pay anybody for breaking something.
So breaking rocks.
Yeah.
This is the goal. Yeah. All right,
but
folks.
Not the dinosaur bone thing. No,
okay.
That.
So you don't want to do the archaeology side of it.
Yes,
not that part, but definitely rocks.
Yes.
Minerals, crystals.
I'll keep them all for myself.
Oh, really?
I might sell a few, but
are you gonna make jewelry with your finds?
Of course. Well, I'll take a small piece because most of that, finding that kind of stuff is hard work. Because I see videos of people doing it, and there is this person, he cracked a whole bunch of rocks just to find one rock that was filled with amethyst. So yeah, I'm mostly keeping them.
Yeah, lots of back-breaking hard work to find a little bit of amethyst.
Yep.
Yes. Unless you're in South America, because they have those huge amethyst stones.
Speaking of amethyst, I got really sad. Oh my god, amethyst is beautiful. If you've seen it before, then you know it's beautiful. But amethyst is just purple quartz.
Yeah, we thought amethyst was going to have a more interesting molecular structure.
But it's the same as quartz with some purple thing in it.
Yeah, with I guess if it's quartz, then the purple would be an impurity. But yes, these are the slightly nerdy conversations that we generally have. Now, you have this career idea to be a geologist, and you also have your business, which ties into your geology aspirations. And if there is a parent who has a child who's coming to them at 4 years old asking if they can sell something that they've made in the park, could I paint rocks and sell them in the park? Could I do something along the lines of business? What should a parent do to help that child?
Okay, so in regular business, you have to go through a lot of stuff, and you have to sell stuff, you have to buy stuff, and you make money, lose money. And so the parents are probably thinking about that, or they're lame parents. You never know.
Let's assume they're cool parents.
Yes, cool parents. So little kid walks up like, "Hi, mommy, daddy. Can I sell this bracelet that I made yesterday?" I was gonna say 5 years ago, but then they're like, either they would ask for ideas, suggestions, or they'll be like, if you want to sell that, you should make more and make a whole bunch of money. Then you could be a millionaire for mommy and daddy and put us in a very nice nursing home or feed us mashed potatoes.
I really hope that they'll be. I hope the parents are helping the child's business, not for their retirement plan. Yes.
Like
what are some important? Okay, yeah, being able to support themselves during college. What are some important things that you have learned in becoming an entrepreneur?
I learned it, but I will never actually listen to it. Don't buy a whole bunch of stuff after you make like, I don't know, $1,000. Don't. I mean, I would, but don't. I mean, yeah, but.
So okay, so when you say a lot of stuff, you mean personal stuff or stuff for the business?
Okay, stuff. I guess both. Stuff for the business does help, but then if you do need something else and you figure out that you are completely broke, then you can't buy anything more. But personal stuff, that mostly entertainment, or I don't know what else you can buy personally.
But yeah, okay, let's go with entertainment. Yeah. Maybe just something that you like but you don't need, a want but not a need.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So you ease up off of those things.
Yes.
Yes, because then you may need that money again later.
Or if you're like an adult, you would get necessities with it. But necessities also be a part of the business, or?
Well, we'll deal with that in homeschool, but basically it depends on if you have a sole proprietorship or an incorporated business, whether or not you can include your personal necessities. Yeah. See, these are interesting questions that we can use to have further conversation. Now, I'm going to ask you a hard question. Is that okay?
Okay.
And I already asked for your permission to touch this topic. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So we, through all of this business stuff, we tried some things. You wanted to be an actress at one point.
Yes.
That became much harder because mommy wasn't well for a very long time. You have this business idea, and I'm sure that there are many other things that you've wanted to do in your business over the years. And sometimes it's been challenging because mommy hasn't always been well enough. And we both have tons of ideas, but to be able to actually get them done, having financial challenges and illness and, all these other things that happened. When this was going on, and there was a lot of disappointments, things that you wanted to do that you weren't able to do, sometimes plans that we made that at the last minute we had to change. What kept you smiling?
First thing that came to my mind when I said that, the toys that I had.
Toys?
Yeah, because, I mean, it was pretty boring when I would just, sadly sit there in my room, clashing two dolls together and going like, how dare you? Hey, I didn't do that. It was that person, and all that kitty doll stuff. But yeah, it was number one, my toys. Mm-hmm. Number two, I mean, I did get to hang out with you in the end either way, so I was still excited to still be around with my parents. I keep saying Mm-hmm. It was just like you're getting a big prize at the end of the day, mm-hmm. but through the day you just have to sit there and do nothing, like literally nothing, like you have nothing to do.
So you grew patience, waiting for the fun thing that could happen when it's all done?
I did grow patient, but I am extremely impatient.
I think you are impatient when you're excited. but for the important things in life, you're quite patient. You think that's fair? Fair assessment?
I don't know. Maybe. I
Well,
mean,
let's go with mommy is always right. And
wow.
yeah, and your life will always be simple. Well, thank you very much, Jazz, for joining
You're
us.
welcome.
You can relieve Daddy of baby duty.
Goodbye.
And I'm going to welcome up with me really shortly my husband, Derek Headley, so that we can talk about things that he's been doing and how we as a family managed to get through some of the harder times, um, and the bigger challenges that we would have had over the years, how we've kept one another going and supported one another, even with the further expansion of family, and making sure that we're able to not just support, but making sure that we're supporting from a full cup. And I thank you so very much for joining in on this conversation. You are listening to Community Conversations here on Love Bay Radio, your number one African Caribbean diaspora online radio. We are based in Canada, but we are playing 24/7 with amazing music that you can jump into and love, get completely lost in, and talk shows where we bring you the best from Love Bay and from our community to you, with lots of different topics for you to gain from. So welcome up with me, my husband, Derek Headley, and he's going to share a bit with us about some of the things that he's been doing. So hello, Mr. Headley.
Hello, Mrs. Headley.
So we had Jazz up and we touched a little bit at the end of her conversation on what it was like for her going through mommy not being well with breast cancer. And she talked about becoming more patient, using her toys while she was bored, but looking forward to being able to spend time with the family as one of the things that kept her smiling and kept her going. So as we encourage other families, while we reflect on Black family love, what are some of the things that kept you smiling throughout the ordeal so that other families can use that in whatever trial and struggle they're facing right now?
So first of all, I want to say it must have been quite a story when Jazzy was telling you about her.
It's very animated, yeah.
All new beginnings and all the ideas that she wanted to be when she grew up and all that stuff. But but you know, throughout this whole breast cancer situation, you know, it's just the thought and the hope of having a really good family and a strong family moving forward. So if there's anything else that I can take from it is that, you know, just the hope of having a strong family, togetherness for the future, and not think on anything negative. So that's what kept me smiling, and just being able to share the moments that you know, sometimes you got low moments, and then you know, just seeing you pulling through these situations put a smile on my face, because, you know, first of all, the shock from hearing a loved one, you know, a wife, husband, whoever, right, being diagnosed with cancer, and then having to sit or stand with you and cry and feel that pain. And then, you know, to be honest, not knowing exactly what's going to happen next, because we all heard the horror stories from different people. And
Caribbean people are really good at telling you the worst possible stories when you get bad news.
Exactly, right? So just seeing those little moments, and every day there's something better happens, and better news, and that kept me smiling, kept me moving forward, and just having the hope, you know.
Well, thank you for being there through all of that. Now, you've taken all of that hardship and you're pouring it into something beautiful that you're creating. And creating opportunities for other people in this world. So tell me and our listeners on Love Bay Radio, and if you are watching us live or catching the replay on YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn, just drop a note below and let me know live or replay. But can you tell us what it's like being a creative and starting your own YouTube channel?
Well, being a creative is I would say, quite unique. If anyone else out there is a creative, you'll probably understand because people that surround us. I mean, they're creatives usually get together, but other people just don't understand the little fine tuning that we need to have, and the things that we do and we want specifics in broadcasting something or creating something. Most people don't get it until it's actually finalized, right? So being a creative is like you want a specific thing. You want it done correctly to the way you want it. You can't see outside of that unless it doesn't work. Then you try something different. But for the most part, being a creative, it takes a special kind of dedication as well.
Mm-hmm. So, what are some of the challenges that you faced in that journey of expressing your creativity through your YouTube channel?
Well, first of all, over the years, working advertising and not directly being a creative in there. I started out after leaving college or whatever and wanted to be a creative, and then going into an advertising field and not actually being a creative, but watching it happen all the way around me. So just seeing all the nice work that was being done, and just showing up. I personally would show up. Very early just to hear one of the top creative chiefs speak and how they broadcast their production. So for me, that was always important just to see how the work is done and the results and the satisfaction that people get from it. So for me, that's what it's been like, and just kind of learning the craft as I go along. And now with the YouTube and all the tools that's on the internet that we can use is actually opening up an opportunity for guys or for people who are interested in being a creative, just to create your own work. It doesn't have to be like the old traditional work because that's done. I would say you might have some of that still lingering on, but for the most part, most of those old ways that we used to create like ads or create work or whatever, that's pretty much done. I'm pretty sure in 10 years, you're going to have a whole new space for creatives.
Yeah. So let's say someone has an idea. They want to start something new, and it could be difficult for them. Let's say they don't have access to the right technology, or, they're juggling, like you would have family, work, all your many responsibilities, and then also this idea that you can't shake, right? What would you say to someone who is in that space? They're just at that point where the idea is so big, they can't ignore the idea anymore, but it's new, it's hard.
Well, I would say keep working on the idea. Keep trying to get the right tools in place. Once you get the right tools in place, then you can probably make the idea happen. If you're doing it all alone, then that's a lot of fun. Creatives get a lot of joy from doing things on their own. But if you want to probably grow bigger, you might want to work on getting a team around you. Maybe a few people or a couple people that you can rely on, or have something that you need that can make your production work, right? So if you're a writer or you like writing, you may want to team up with an art person, a person who's big on art, who knows colors properly and knows how certain features should go into a video or something like that. You know what I mean? So I would say keep working, keep trying to get the tools, and especially in these days, you need the right tools in order to succeed, being online. And to get your videos or your creativity across to the media.
Mm-hmm. So if we're looking to work with other people. You talked about, as a creative, wanting to make sure that certain specifics look exactly how you want them to look, like the finish is how you want it to be. What is the level of give and take when you are one creative working with another creative? Both sides have their definition of what it should look like.
Well, it's like tug and war because, you know, all, our brains are all different. We all want the same result, which is lots of there's a kind of joy when you get when people laugh or smile or appreciate. And now online, with YouTube or Facebook or whatever, or Instagram, when someone hit that like button, there's a certain special kind of happiness that goes into your veins when that pops up. So when you see a big old laugh, you're not sure if they're laughing at you or if they're laughing with you. But the like button, that's the one that really makes you feel excited.
Yeah. So go ahead and hit that like button wherever you're watching us, on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Go ahead and hit that like button and give us a taste of what that special happiness feels like.
And the comments. The comments work too as well, quite honestly. It shows that you're being part of it and you're feeling the same emotions or something that we are putting out there.
Now, tell us a little bit about, some of the interesting people that you have met and some of the ways that you've been challenged, like, your way of thinking or doing things since you started this journey, so that for other people who have an idea, they can see that there is a lot to gain personally from, finally launching out and giving it a try.
Well, I'll tell you what, like anything else, you got to watch out for people who are willing to steal your ideas and willing to steal your creativity. You really got to watch out for that. And on top of that, you really can't do much about it, right? So there's people who will come and they'll come and try to be all frenzied with you or whatever, or, I don't know, just get close to you in terms of seeing what you're doing. And then lo and behold, they're ready to steal all your ideas, but you can't really do much about that. That's just how the new world is. So you have to be ready to be creative in turning things around or changing things up, because after a while they become stagnant. And the viewers out there who are watching, something about them too, they don't like to see the same thing over and over and over. So you got to get real creative in your creativity.
So they're creatives and copiers.
Exactly.
And so, I feel like a lot of creatives don't start because they're afraid that someone will copy them.
No, it's going to happen.
Face it head on.
It's going to happen. I mean, look at all the big brands out there. You see all the knockoffs, and they look very similar to the old brands that you're accustomed seeing, but they're not. So you got to get used to it. There will be copycats out there. So that's going to happen.
Right.
You start doing something, and before you know it, if you start doing well, you start seeing 2-3 other people start doing the same thing too. So does that mean you get upset? No, you don't get upset. You just kind of say, hey, look, you know what? You're a leader. People are following you. You get excited. You say, hey, look, I got some people following what I'm doing. Now it's time to change it up and see if they can follow that too. And if they start doing that, then you do something different.
Keep switching it up.
But you just,
you continue to lead.
It's like a relationship. I can't come and just whisper, I love you every day. Sometimes I say I love you to do something else.
Cook me some food. Food is my love language. Which she did cook today, so
thank you.
But yes, so one more thing then before you go, talk to me about some of the interesting characters that you've met on your journey throughout creating behind the scenes and for truth. And wait, what does for truth mean?
Well, for truth is just one of our Barbadian slangs that we use every time that we do something, or we're telling a story or whatever. If we're saying, the rain was really falling hard or falling heavily, and you might say for truth, right? Which means for truth or
really?
For real.
Yeah.
So that's a really old way of saying things in Barbadian slang or dialect or culture, and I just kept it going. In terms of interesting characters that I've met. I've met quite a few people when we started doing that. From Belize, bloggers. I've met people from Ghana, from Africa, from Canada, the Caribbean, just some very regular people who are doing some magnificent work out there. These guys are really putting the work in, but they just need some exposure. Unfortunately, when I first started, I didn't get such a big audience in the beginning, but that's been 3-4 years ago, and I look back and some people are doing well, some are not doing so well, but those are the more interesting people that I've met along the way, and just sharing their stories was wonderful because for just like myself, they get a chance to for other people to hear exactly what they were doing. The worst thing really is to be doing something really, really good and to be doing something productive and others
Just
don't
don't
know
know.
that you're doing it. That being said, some people like behind the scenes, like I used to be. Now I'm a little bit in front, but still behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So in terms of the horse racing world and the jockey world and all that, I've met so many good black writers and people who work within the horse racing world, but they just don't get the exposure. That's kind of sad for me because a lot of these people are really heroes within the communities. But to be quite honest, in a world in a space just like that, it's not their space. Pretty much, they might be really talented at what they do, but if you don't own, just like you own land or whatever, you don't own the horses, you don't own I don't know, most of the horse racing world, you won't get those good opportunities. So it's not a matter of, I won't say racial, right? But it's just a matter of ownership and who you connect with. So if you keep connecting with each other and you have a really powerful person within your circle, then the chances of you succeeding is pretty high. If you don't have that, then you're not going to do too well. So always remember the connection, the networking is really important. I feel like a lot of times we neglect that and we don't do that too well. And you keep trying to tell it, you keep trying to explain it. Eventually, someone will pick it up or some people will pick it up.
Yeah. No, we've had the chance to do quite a bit of volunteering and community work together. Generally, I've dragged you into all of it.
Thanks.
You're welcome. But like we did some work with the Olive Branch together, some work with small enterprises for education and development in Barbados together. And out of that has come, a really obvious passion that you have to see young people excel and people who have talents that aren't visible or prominent or celebrated, come to the forefront and be celebrated. For young people looking at the horse industry based on your experience and what you've been doing, what is your sage wisdom that you would like to offer them?
Well, it's funny enough because this wisdom is kind of repetitive. So I would say before you think that you're going to be really great at what you're doing, I would say network. Get to know some people who are within that world. So by the time that you perfect
I'm young, I'm not coming out of school. How do I do that?
You still do that. You can still go by and say hello. Say, hey, hey, remember me? I used to be that kid that used to come around here or whatever. And you can still do the stuff like that. You can still drop by. I mean, this applies to any industry, really. Keep your face visible. Be visible for the people who you plan on working with in the future. Or, if you want to be connected to those people in the future, you want to make sure that you're quite visible so that when they see you, they don't think you're inexperienced and you don't know what you're talking about, right? So you got to show a bit of that. And in a world like horse racing, like I found this out from my experience, you can't just jump in there and think that people will accept you. There's some people who will not accept you, and then there's other people who will be willing to give you a chance, right? And there's exceptional people who see exactly what you could bring to the table for them, and those people are very important. So I would say stay visible, but you still got to keep crafting, your skill or whatever, right? But stay visible, so people know exactly who you are and what you plan on being. By the time you get there, you know exactly that you're the man or a woman, right? So,
last question of utmost importance. Are you really a doctor?
I could be, I had my gloves on when you were ready to give birth. So just in case.
That does not qualify you as a doctor, to be clear. I'm sorry.
Look, man, not quite a doctor, but if I gotta perform a surgery, I probably will give it a shot.
Okay.
You never know what happens from that.
All right, we'll get some of Jazara's dolls. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh my gosh. Thank you guys for peering into our silly but insightful family. I'm really thankful that we've been able to do this and to share and showcase, because we want to demonstrate to other families that things may not always go smoothly, things may not always go well, but there's always a way to be able to come out of it when you hold each other through it and you move through together. Thank you so very much, Ozzy in Toronto, for touching base with us. I think it's a great topic for us to discuss throughout the month, is Black family love, because it shows itself in many different ways. And we want to normalize that we as Black people have love, express love, desire love, and that it is not necessarily a Hollywood, version of love, and that things may be challenging, things may get hard, but you can still stay strong as a family through the hardships. And so, last time that we were together, we had a conversation with the Springer family from the Olive Branch of Hope, and they were able to share with us something that they have coming up. So if you are listening on the radio, stay tuned for the end, because I will touch back on that event that's coming up. But right now in Community Come Along, I want to share something with you that I found. That I love to share nonprofits with you. If you are in the physical area of this nonprofit, or you are in the catchment here on Community Come Along, then you get a chance to tap into what this nonprofit is doing. If you are a nonprofit leader yourself, then you also have the opportunity to learn from how this nonprofit is structured, how they organize themselves, so that you would be able then to improve your own nonprofit. So I'm going to share my screen with you. And I came across this charity. It's very clever what they did. They told the story of their founder, and it's on Amazon Prime. Okay, so you can learn more about Mully. And we like watching documentaries. We sit down, on the couch, wrapped up in one another, watching documentaries all the time. And here you go. You can watch the documentary on the website. And it talks about how this multimillionaire in Kenya, he grew up as an orphan himself, and one night was met by some young orphans, and he talked about having to be reminded of what life was like when he lived in such desolation, and the impact that moment had, where he was brought right back to his core, right back to his roots, right back to the slum where he would have been running around many years prior, when his family told him that he had to leave their home. And in this moment, he tried to kind of shake off that call. And if you're a nonprofit person, you understand the call that you can't shake. And trying to kind of run away from it, and then just having this encounter, this moment where it was absolutely clear what he had to do. Now, for the rest of us watching or looking into his life, I could imagine what his neighbors would have said, his business partners would have said. This sounded crazy. This sounded absolutely nuts. He left everything. He left it all to go help these children, because he was helping children. He would have been one of these children himself. And so he forsakes it all and runs to be able to support them. And in doing this, Black family love, his wife joins in. His wife talks in the documentary about bathing children at her kitchen sink, or outside in the yard sink, children that she knew were HIV positive. And maybe she didn't even have protective gear herself, but she took care of these children because her husband said that this was absolutely important and vital to the rest of his life. And she said, I'm here with you. I think what was really interesting in this was when his children shared that they were not happy about Daddy's decisions. And they confessed that they had grown up privileged and spoiled. And so now they can't go to boarding school anymore. They can't, hang out with their rich friends anymore. They have to now come back to their home base, and now they're sharing a room. And they talk about, their own snobbery, how they looked down on the children at the beginning, how they were upset with their father because they used to have so much money and now they don't have any money, and all of this. And then you see the progression. You see as they grow that they began to understand Dad's call and Dad's mission and Dad's purpose, and why it was important for them to join in. And now they're all working together in the charity. They went off, they studied, and now they all come back. And that Black family love extended beyond their immediate family, because now all these brothers and sisters that they gained over the years, they also went off to university and came back to support the children in the villages who have been orphaned by AIDS, orphaned by poverty, orphaned by violence, and to be able to support them. There are amazing things that this charity does. I think one of my favorite ones, and again, this for me as someone who works in the social enterprise space, is one of the most beautiful examples of what happens when you take a person who has a business mind but a nonprofit heart. When you have a clear passion to serve someone or to advance something that will help the world, but your mind thinks in logical business process to deliver a specific outcome. And so they've been able to actually grow food, not just grow food enough for the children, but grow food enough to export. And that helps them to continue to support the work that they're doing. So, I'm sharing this with you. Once again, we're going to put the link here for you. If you are watching us live on YouTube, or if you're catching the replay, then go ahead and click the link so that you can learn more about Mali Children's family and all the work that this organization is doing. It's just so inspirational and really solid work. As you can see here, they have 11 homes that are operating right now. They currently have over 6,000 children in care. Does that number, can you see that number? Like, when have you gone to a school that has had 6,000 children, right? So there's 6,000 children spread across their 11 homes, and they have supported over 26,000 children. And that number sounds insane. But when you look back at the video and you realize that they would have had like 50 kids in their own home at one point, that they extended and added, space for more kids to live. these numbers are, as astounding as they are, they're real numbers. And so you and I, we may not be able to go out right now into the streets of Kenya or even onto the streets where we live to support 6,000 plus children, but you can go and donate to Mali Children's Family and learn more about the work that they do. Please vet them yourselves, and tell me what you think about the organization, and be able to continue to support them. It's up on the screen if you're watching us on YouTube, but it will also be in the comments. Thank you again, Marie from Lancaster. Really appreciate you, Momo from the Gambia. And Carlson in Kingston, Jamaica. Really thank you guys for chiming in and letting us know that you appreciate the show as you listen on the radio. And in our final moment here on More Love, where we get to tell you all about what we are doing at Love Bay and how we are advancing our mission throughout the community. On More Love, we'll share with you what Love Bay is doing to support the Olive Branch of Hope that we met last week. So come on over with me to More Love. And if you are a business or you're a nonprofit organization and you'd like to participate by supporting these segments, this could be brought by your business. More Love today could have been brought by your business, so that people will know that you think it's important that we have these conversations in the community. So I'm going to go over and share with you this event that is coming up with the Olive Branch of Hope. Now, this is for if you are in the Greater Toronto Area. This is the Peel region. They will be at Credit Valley Hospital in Mississauga. And this is going to be held on Saturday, March 1st from 9 a.m. Now, the first of the month, we ask you a question. Did you touch your tatas? Right? We are asking women, our breasts have been sexualized for so long, but they're part of our bodies. They're part of our bodies that need to be taken care of with special care. And so we need to know our bodies. We need to know when our bodies are doing well and when our bodies are not doing well, when our bodies are asking us for love, help, health, and support. And so if you have been wondering about whether or not you should get a mammogram, whether or not you should talk to somebody, who might actually be able to understand you, then you need to be at this event. And More Love here at Love Bay, you will hear us mentioning this event to you more and more over the next coming weeks throughout our programming on the radio, because we think it's important for women in our community to get up and go learn. Now, this is not just for women to get up and go learn. If you are a man, I need you to understand two things. Number one, when a woman in your life is diagnosed with breast cancer, it affects your life as well. Number two, men are actually more likely to die from their own breast cancer diagnosis because men don't know that they can actually develop breast cancer. And men are much less likely to go to the doctor to get checked. And then if they are checked, they are more likely to focus on the stigma of what is otherwise considered a sexualized disease and not seek help. And so it is actually important for men and women to go and attend this event together. Now, not only are you going to learn directly from doctors, but you can get a mammogram that day, a free mammogram that day. You can go learn, do all at the same time. This is extremely important. It is better to know that there's nothing there than to sit down wondering if there is something there. Now, on top of all of that, for free, they're also giving y'all lunch. So why are you not registered already for your free spot? Tons of giveaways and a fun Afro-Caribbean dance class, which is totally optional, but why won't you do it? You need to do it. And they're also covering your parking. So what was your excuse again? I don't remember. Make sure that if you are in the Greater Toronto Area, anywhere in the Greater Toronto Area, that you get here. Okay, and bring a friend and tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend that Saturday, March 1st at 9 a.m., you are going to be at Credit Valley Hospital, so that you are able to get this much needed support, meet other people who are on this breast cancer journey, and more importantly, meet survivors, women who are living life, embracing life, loving life long after, facing a diagnosis, and women who are living with cancer. I need you to understand that there are women who continue for many years to live full lives with their cancer. And so we want you to make sure that you are inspired, that you meet all of these amazing people so that you can now be able to, go out there and do what you got to do, because this is important. We need you to know that your body, your beautiful Black body is important to us, and your health is vital. And we are here as a community to have these conversations about, bringing our health to the forefront, no longer hush hush. You know how we do it, right? We don't want to talk about these things openly. We don't want to share. You don't want nobody in your business, all this kind of stuff. No more of that, family. Let us go together and share this Black family love together, and make sure that we bring a sister along, bring a brother along, because we all need to know for sure that there's nothing there. And we need to know what to look out for. And we need to know how to create community around others who need that service and that support. So Love Bay has been so generous to offer promotion for this event. Over the next couple of weeks, you'll hear bits and blurbs about, how you can register by going to Eventbrite. But better yet, just go to their website. That's theolivebranch.ca. All right. That's theolivebranch.ca. And there you can see all of the events that they have coming up as well. Okay. And with that, my friends, let's continue to have these conversations. These are crucial and vital conversations for us to have within the community. Dialogue is the first step to us making things better. It's the first step to us making sure that our communities are stronger. It is the pinnacle of, that ability to reconnect with who we are and where we come from. Because while we've lost the community structure that sat at the feet of the elders, to hear the stories being told of, warriors and their triumphs and our kingly and queenly heritage, we can still, with this modern technology, sit down here together every Sunday at 5 p.m. on your number one Afro-Caribbean music radio for this talk show, Community Conversations. My friends, whatever you do, keep the conversation going. I am so grateful to be able to spend this time with you. Thank you for joining us. And thank you for continuing to support us here at Love Bay Radio, where we are more than just radio. We are here to reach out to the community, to be of tremendous support to the community, from the Love Bay family to your family. Keep the conversations going.